we will listen to the design process, understanding how the ship design is made. Please welcome Mr. Shin with the big hand. Creative Perth designs yachts, boats, and other tourist purpose ships. Good afternoon. I would like to present on the design process, understanding how the ship design is made. I am the CEO of Creator Purse. My name is Shin Hong-woo. I would like to note that this presentation also doubles as a presentation of Korea Society of Marine Design presentation. My presentation relates to a very realistic aspect of ship design. I would like to touch on what design is, and then the core process of ship design, and finally my own experience of ship design portfolio before I present the conclusion. I would like to first start with the word design. Although the word design is familiar around the world, I think many Koreans have a misconception of design. So what do you think the word design means? Does it only mean form, color? Is it only a verb or noun? That's not the case in reality, because if you look up design on Wikipedia, the verb design means the general process of developing design, and to design includes planning, designing, and shaping in a comprehensive manner. So this is a very well-known person who explained the term of design. Louis Sullivan said that design has a lot of architectural elements, and the American architect or father of skyscrapers, Louis Sullivan, said that form follows function. The essence of design is in this phrase. Going deeper into ship design, in terms of form or function, there can be a number of different interpretations of what ship design is. As you can see in this image, the function, depending on the purpose of that ship on sea, helps the ship to fulfill all its services. And the safety of passengers on board and the convenience is also provided through the interior elements, which all form the part of a function of a ship. Based on these functional elements, the design, shape, and color is expressed through design. The form and function cannot be separated. The inside is the outside, and the outside is the inside. They each form an object of ship design. Very sorry, I forgot to flip through the slides. My apologies. So this is a single concept of design, and we would have to design and sell a ship that is functional. And it is the result of a creative designing process. The key is to understand the characteristics of the sea in marketing, producing, manufacturing, and selecting the materials. By putting together the engineering perspective and the designing perspective, and also the latest trends. In designing ships, what's the most important factor? Understanding the material characteristics. Because depending on the material characteristics, the design of the ship, it can be determined at the highest level. These materials available today are, there are 4 types. There are rubber boats, composite boats, combination boats, and aluminum boats. The first 3 cannot be recycled, but the final aluminum boats are recyclable and therefore very eco-friendly. Then the most eco-friendly material of aluminum. How do we build an aluminum ship? So in short, there can be 10 different steps involved. First, after the design is over, we start the production. And then the aluminum panels are cut based on design. All the processed goods go through the small assembly and large assembly. After pairing and painting, depending on the client's final request, we conduct the construction based on the interior construction based on design. So when we express the different elements of design, we need to understand the limits of the aluminum material. Making beautiful lines requires a lot of designing elements, but in order to make a beautiful line, sometimes if you design beyond the limits of the aluminum or bending the aluminum too much, this will lead to productivity issues, and ultimately the surface of the boat will not be of good quality. So this is a YouTube video that explains what I had just described. So the aluminum panel is processed to design the ship. So you need to understand the limits of the aluminum as a material in designing the ship. But if you are too mired in this limit, then you cannot design your unique ship. After processing is over, as you can see in this video, small assembly, large assembly of different parts are done to complete the cabin. So far, I have gone through the general concept of design. And now, let me go into the actual leisure boat designing examples done by my company to explain to you the ship design process. In designing a ship, the most important factor is to understand the purpose of the ship and to represent that concept with the appropriate design. The size of the leisure boat is divided into medium to large boats, that's 100 to 50 feet large, and medium boats from 30 to 50 feet, and small boats that are smaller than that. So for an example, I would like to show you a medium-sized boat. The type of the boat is medium size 40 feet large boat. The hull type is a multi-hull type of catamaran. The hull is made in aluminum with double hulls forming the bedroom, living room, shower room in a livable format. The catamaran leisure boat has a double hull, and above that there's a service area. So on the deck there are a number of different leisure activities that can take place. So to understand catamaran leisure boat, you need to understand the difference between monohull and a multi-hull. For monohull, literally, there is just one hull, and therefore has powerful sea kindness and rotation, which allows active driving. Meanwhile, catamarans are multi-hulls that are weaker in sea kindness and rotation and hence less active driving, but the space on top of two hulls allow a wider space for leisure on the sea and much better control over the rolling. So the ship is basically much more stable than a single hull shape of boats. Then how did we design this ship? What's most important in the design process is in completing the ship design from the early stage, analyzing a number of different information and how to reflect the analysis into design. To collect different information, we needed to set up different groups, and the groups were based on having the marketing at the top and finding the right functions that are fit for purpose. So we grouped information into 6 groups to fit the purpose of marketing, and we analyzed the information one by one and reached a conclusion. So the images are just a part of the design analysis material. There are different materials used for design and for design process, how they are produced and what kind of impact they might have environmentally should be understood. And in styling the ship, in advance, we need to look at how to address the different requirements with what type of forms. So the analysis in the services area to all the way down to the engine, we needed an extensive research. And for ship structure, we needed to consult with experts. The general analysis and survey, well, the more the better. And we did the best we could to collect as much information as possible. And based on the research, we had to pull up the conclusion of different analysis by pulling together the scattered information and by sorting out the different informations into groups. And the results, if wrongfully sorted out, then we will be unable to reflect the latest trends. And as soon as the ships are built, they would be immediately become obsolete. So we divided the information we collected by each time period so that we may stay ahead of the trend. And by different nations, we wanted to look at the design of the hull and the philosophy, which can serve as a good know-how in designing and building a ship. So we needed an intensive research on this. In changes of the process materials, lifestyle changes, these are areas where we needed to look into further to decide the shape of the boat. In ship design, the most important factor was not only the aesthetic element, but the safety and convenience of the passengers, the ergonomic elements, efficient spacing, layout, and horizontal design for the different sectors of the ship. And for the passengers that come into contact with the sea in a limited space, before design was finalized, we had to check repeatedly that this indeed was going to happen. And because boats are very small space, we needed to efficiently and reasonably divide up the space. And from the design stage, we use a dummy modeling to secure even 1 centimeter of more space for areas where much activity will be done. And for lighting, which is a sentimental element, we went through a lighting analysis stage to prevent any issues. And for safety, ship stability was analyzed through fluid analysis. And we also did an end-user design assessment. And for any legal elements, we filtered out any legal issues from the design stage. And going forward, let me show you the final design, exterior and interior design that I have described so far. So this is the final rendering of the design. The specification is it is a catamaran boat, stern drive type, up to 30 knots of speed. 11 people can be accommodated on the ship. It has 3 floors total, centering around the house. There are 2 bridges leading to the bow and the hull, stern. For leisure activities higher up, there's a sky bridge installed. And as you can see on the look, from the top to the bottom, aluminum leisure type of linear shape is well demonstrated. The design light is consistent in its style. On the first floor, there's the bedroom, the shower room, and the restroom. And on the second floor, there's the console and the cabin, or the steering room. The table is consistent with the console. This can double as a table as well, so it is variable in shape. The color overall are suede and solid color with a modern feel and a very sophisticated touch. This is the animation of what I described. This is the overall shape that is shown on the video. And regarding manufacturing and production, the 3D production is limited in communicating with the actual workers. So we render it in 2D and talk to the construction workers, and we had to add hundreds of changes to the original design. This is the early stage of the ship. We have the hull being shipped to the shipyard. The newly designed parts, through nesting and bending, are assembled. And once the hull is finished, after welding, aluminum pairing is done. And with the dedicated primer and painter, we do the finishing touch, and then the interior is finished. There are interference with existing materials, the surface finishing and processing, which is very difficult. So we had a lot of difficulties with the designing company. The designer's idea and the realistic perspective of the producer sometimes clash, and these are the challenges to be overcome. And through this, this is the final ship built. In the process, we issued 10 patents and design and trademarks acquired. Red Dot Asia Design Prize, Moti Minister Award were all presented to our ship. So that's the 40 feet leisure boat development. And now let me show you some of the other portfolio ships in concluding my presentation. So I know that I am behind schedule, but let me rush through the conclusion. So the conclusion is that the most important element in Korean ship design is not just to create an aesthetic ship with inconvenient interior or just to serve convenience and give up aesthetics. Rather than a spear that pierces unconditionally and a shield that unconditionally blocks, we need to be realistic because ship design in Korea must become realistic above all. And through that, the design world and the shipbuilding world needs to understand one another as soon as possible and work together so that Korea can be a ship design powerhouse. Thank you very much.